the president of the Global Venture Alliance, Magomed Musaev, Russia. Dear friends, I'm hoping that Brexit won't overshadow the significance of this event today, which is no less important. Because, as Ekaterina pointed out, it is about children and it is about knowledge. Since I have finished my 10-year tenure as the head of the VD&H Exhibition Center, I had never spoken on stage, ever. And today, as I was approaching this stage, I thought to myself, amid this huge flow of information that is loaded on us every day, how can I choose my words and put them together in such a way so that these words would be meaningful to you and would touch hearts of many more? My first word is journey. Here on the screen, you can see photos of two villages. In one of these, I was born, and in the second one, I live. What is common between them? It is their beauty, ecology. In both places, children are born. In both places, parents want better future for their children. But this is where similarities end. A child in the first village, since the age of 6, has to wake up at 6 a.m. and drive cattle to pasture. By 8 a.m., they have to make it to the school. And after the school ends, they take a piece of bread and cheese, and every single day they go up to the highest mountain to drive the cattle back. Last cattle will become prey for wolves, which means a loss for the family. Boys in the village at night also attend wrestling classes like true mountain men, and then right before they go to bed, they have to do their homework in this setting, in this environment they are surrounded by in the village. At the same time, their mom, from dawn till dusk, cuts hay, and on the same mountain, on her own back, she would bring this hay home. Then she has to dry it up and deliver it to a farm, which will pay her 30 rubles to be able to provide food and education to her 4 children. What would be the thinking of a small child in this situation? How can I break out of this hard life, the life of poverty? How can I achieve something in life to help myself, help my mom and my parents? They then enroll in a college and spend 5 years studying by the sweat of their brow. They do night shifts in the library to study Marxist-Leninist theory, because you had to be ideologically grounded, and at the same time study the Russian language, because back at the village, for this young guy to learn Russian meant the same as to learn English for any of you. So he studies. Eventually he graduates. You would think it's a dream come true. But it turns out that it is not what he wanted in life, it is not his calling. Because when I studied, or any kid studies in a village, there were no navigators, no guides, nor mentors. There were no people to broaden your perspective and show you of different possibilities, and who would work alongside with you to find out your professional aptitudes. It means many years lost, but they keep moving forward, searching for meaning, searching for life, and somewhere in the middle of their life, they achieve all they wanted to. They are now welcomed by presidents, governors, and high-ranking officials, and they have money and family. And you may feel accomplished, but it feels like something is missing. What is missing is that restlessness, that inner child living on the inside of you. It is nagging you. And so from the outside, you turn on the inside of you and dedicate the next 10 years to this inner search, looking for meaning in life, the true meaning, your life's purpose. which would outline your values. And through this searching and understanding, you get to this next village, famously called the Silicon Valley. Children are also born here, but people come to this place from all over the world with one goal and one intention only. How can we save the world? Only with these thoughts. Those are global people. You do not want to fall behind, and you form different thoughts and different dreams. And once you formulate this dream, you keep bothering people like this, like Forbes editor-in-chief. And at the event organized by him, you try to meet Buffett, you try to meet Bill Gates and Steve Forbes. And you try to convince them and say that this 100-year-old publication, which throughout its history has been focusing on a dream, and they have always written about people who managed to make their dream a reality. Let's take all these achievers and build a community with Forbes and define one big dream, so that all of us would have one big purpose. So you move forward towards bringing together 50 or 100,000 people, so that for the next 25 to 30 years they would write out a small check of $20 million, so you could build a global impact fund of $1 trillion. And then publications like Forbes could serve as such navigators and motivators and leading coordinators of impact movement of the humankind. People begin to think, if at some stage you have enough money to feed your family, how then you should spend your time? Because this time could be spent either dealing with minor issues or working on a global idea. So I and my team are building an Institute of Global Ideas. We form a global venture alliance. So on one hand, we could think through some global challenges, and on the other hand, to look for the up-to-date technologies to tackle these problems. When, in a short period of time, you are able to make progress on major issues, so that later it will benefit children like this country boy born in the village, isn't it a goal? Isn't it a big value? Going back to what Ekaterina has just said, then you have an understanding and desire, having traveled the world, and when to a certain extent you begin to acquire some golden nuggets of wisdom, it becomes important to you to return this huge potential to its sources. Like they say in my homeland, when you drink water, never forget of its source. Do not forget those who have given you an education. Do not forget people like my father, who has been working hard all of his life, my natural father, and the father who had adopted me. He had been working as a teacher, mobilizing his students to promote education so that students would not waste years and decades when choosing what could become a wrong career. What this journey is all about? It is about any baby born in any village, a little human that has a little stream of life in them. The world is very confined, no new ideas there. But then, as you cover a lot of ground, you discover an ocean-like life in you. It is important to channel this wide ocean back into this village, because our modern life and its opportunities enable us to do exactly that. Any events held in Silicon Valley today can be streamed in real time anywhere, and people can see them, even in remote villages. The journey of any human at first is outbound, but at some point people begin to realize it is important to go from outside in, because this external world is borderless. Because there is never a perfect match between who we are inside and what people tell about us. For example, search out my name Magomed Musaev, and you'll see a lot of things written about me, which are not true whatsoever. But my internal world has taught me, the first thing a man has to master is to keep your state. If you can keep your inner state, nothing will knock you down. And I think about this whenever I think about children. We say they deserve good education, and we need to teach them humanities, science and engineering. But this huge tsunami that rolls over the children today, they won't be able to deal with it unless you first build in them this internal backbone. Once it's inside, a person can overcome any problems they may have to face. So that adults and children alike always know, your adversary is always your teacher in life. And second thing, on the outside, there are no such thing as guilty people. Any problem exists only on the inside, and you are well fitted to solve them. Summing up my address, drawing a conclusion, I would like to say that it is very important to teach people how to choose their values, so they can distinguish between what is of primary and what is of secondary importance. Secondly, it is crucial that we would build inner backbone in people. Thirdly, it is very important to teach them to stop criticizing those people in the position of power, as well as regretting their past. This is not what strong people do. Strong people, like Igor Rybakov, shape their idea, their actions, and they go do it. And their actions tell their own story. And lastly, I have basically shared with you three things. I was speaking about the journey, I was speaking about the truth you're seeking, I was speaking about understanding and the mindset which you acquire at a certain stage of your life. If we think about it, any person, whatever their life stage may be, deal with their thinking whenever they come to realize where they are at today and feel where they could be in the future. The journey is when someone keeps trying to bridge the gap between what they feel they are and their potential. This is called the journey, and I wish to all of you have a happy journey.